All right, any other questions on this one?
Now, their main residence is 1,400 square feet, if I remember correctly, right?
Correct.
It's real small.
Mm-hmm.
Place you're gonna put it.
So, yeah, they're gonna get a smaller unit there.
So that's a pretty small unit.
That's, us empty nesters don't need as much space.
I have a question, if you don't mind me asking one. I wonder, have we ever considered, reversing the house? So in this case, the parents' house become the medical hardship house, and the daughter's house become the primary dwelling, and then they potentially, just when the parents no longer need it. I just wondered.
Yes, sir, we sure have.
And would that potential, or did y'all consider that?
But the part of that is the property owner has to live in the principal dwelling, so that's got to be the larger home.
Okay.
But yeah, in this case, it wouldn't apply.
Okay.
But we do try to encourage that.
All right, any other questions? All right, number 2.
Okay. Lyndon McClellan and Stephen Harris are requesting to rezone their 11.94 acres from A2 to AR to allow the property to be split into a 5.8 acre tract and a 6.14 acre tract for home sites. The property is located at 0 Lim Edwards Road in Colbert on Mount 46, parcel 114 in District 5. So the property is co-owned by a mother and her son. They're just wanting to split the 2 tracts, and each plan to retain a tract themselves and put a home on it. There is more than ample road frontage for both tracts, and it is in the South Madison character area, and this is consistent with the comp plan. The AR is consistent with the comp plan.
There's not a house on it right now.
No, sir, it's vacant.
Further questions?
So this was split in the last 3 years on the analysis there?
Mm-hmm.
Which is not a problem.
No, I was just making sure I was.
Okay. Number 3.
Okay. Shuffle down to the site plan. Okay. This is for John Sims III. He is applicant for his father, John Sims II, and he is requesting to rezone his 5.62 acres from A2 to AR to allow an accessory dwelling unit on the property for his mother. Property is located at 257 Cliff Griffith Road in Danielsville on Mount 56, parcel 132 in District 2. So Mr. Sims' mother is elderly and kind of has some bad health issues, and he just wants her close by to live, beside him to help take care of her. And again, this would qualify as a medical hardship, but they're just wanting the placement of this home to be permanent. And this will conform with the ADU requirements, as the principal dwelling that is there on the property is larger than the proposed home, and the property owner lives in the principal dwelling, which those 2 requirements are necessary. It is in the rural conservation character area, and the AR zone is consistent with that. And by rezoning this to A2, it would bring the non-conforming 5.62 acre tract of A2 land to where it should be in the AR zone.
They both use the same driveway?
No, sir, they will have separate driveways. You can see on the site plan, they just.
All right. Questions, comments?
Since Commissioner Chandler's here, we talked about these kind of situations at length with CPL, and what it causes is, and this is a prime example of a little 5-acre parcel, putting 2 homes on it. One day, one of them needs to be split off. You can't do an AR zone, so, just as an example.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, it is what it is. We got what we got.
Correct.
You saying you can't do it?
No, I'm not saying you can't do it. It's just, Lee is saying with the
Comprehensive.
with the company we were hired to rewrite or to advise us as far as the new plans, that this may not work. But right now, that's not in operation, and it won't be until we come to some kind of agreement or the commissioners adopt whatever they propose.
Okay, so, the acreage,
Hmm?
the acreage?
Cause you gotta have 4 acres
Yeah, I know.
in order for it to be able to supply, to
Oh, yeah.
divide that, so you need 8 acres, and this wouldn't have that.
Unless you try to rezone to R1, which would be probably not it wouldn't be
Particular area.
consistent with the comp plan, because it's in their rural conservation.
I mean, one of the challenges of this is as a property owner, it's wonderful, I get it, and caring for the elderly and your parents and honor them, but it puts the property owner in a difficult situation when and if there is a change that's needed there, because then you've got a property that you can't market because you can't split it. You're gonna have basically either a rental property, a horse rental property
Right.
situation, or, that's the challenge with it, and, that's the difficult part to me, is I understand when you're in a situation where you wanna care for your parents, you'll do anything, or kids, or whatever it is, but then, you've got a property here that's gotta be marketed and sold,
Right.
complete, that.
And there's another way around it with the hardship,
Right.
but most folks don't want that, because they want to leave the structure there once it's there. They want to leave it there forever.
Well, it may not be with this property, but we gotta look that there's a trend that's coming down the pipeline, that the people are getting elderly, especially in this area, elderly people.
You don't have to point at me.
I know, not, but, we gotta understand that, times are changing, and I know plans are plans, but plans can be changed. That we gotta look at how are we gonna benefit the people that live here, that spent their life savings to get something, and, okay, they may have had one vision, but that vision had to change because of variables that they had no control. So that's something we gotta look at down the road, that, and do we make them sell their house? Well, we're not making them, but do they have to just sell their house and property and where they live because of something that we put in a plan? I don't know. We gotta look at, times are changing, and people can't buy and sell houses like they used to, and land and whatever. So.
That is true. All right, any other comment, questions? All right, number 4.
Okay. Terry Haynes, applicant for the Florence Haynes Estate, is requesting to rezone a 4-acre portion of the 59.06 acre property from A1 to AR to be split and sold to a family member to settle an estate, and the remaining 55.06 acres will stay in the A1 zone as a whole tract. This property is located at 7431 Nowhere Road in Hull on map 16, parcel 109 in District 1. So Mr. Haynes is the son and the executor of the estate of his mom, and she actually passed away February of 2024. So the family's just trying to come together to get her affairs in order. So of course, he is actually gonna be selling the 4 acres with a homestead on it to his sister-in-law. And then he will have to take that money and distribute it amongst his siblings. And then the remaining 55.06 acres, was actually, he solely inherited, so he will be getting the remaining of it and plans to keep it as a whole tract. There's ample road frontage for the property. It is in the rural conservation character area, and the AR zone is consistent. It is in Cuba, but no breach due to it being a family member that it's being sold to, the 4 acres.
Okay,
I noticed they got that ingress easement there, is that gonna be taken off, would that be taken off, or to use the driveway, or they still gonna use that driveway for both properties?
I believe, all right, well, I didn't know. That easement actually goes into, Mr. Haynes has a separate parcel inside of this 50-something acre tract of land, and it's landlocked. So that easement is provided to his home site in that separate parcel. Let's see if I can pull that up to see if you can. So as you see on the map up here, so the little triangular shape there is his home. So that easement will continue to serve that, but the other tract will be have road frontage.
have road frontage.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you. Any further comments, questions? Number 5.
Okay. All right, David and Jennifer Swalls are requesting to rezone their 13.25 acres from A1 to A2 to allow an accessory dwelling unit on their property for a caretaker. The property is located at 225 Van Manley Road in Danielsville on map 49, parcel 54 in District 4. And Mrs. Swalls is in bad health and is in need for someone to care for her day-to-day needs. And her husband, Mr. Swalls, travels out of town frequently for work, so he isn't there the majority of the time to help with her. So they have a friend that has agreed to be her caregiver, and they actually have a personal shop that has 1,152 square feet, and they are wanting to convert 576 square feet of it into living quarters for the caregiver to reside as an ADU. And again, this would actually qualify as a medical hardship, but instead of purchasing a mobile home, they prefer to use what's already there for financial purposes. And this also meets all the ADU requirements, meaning that the living quarters will be smaller than the principal dwelling, and the property owner lives in the principal dwelling. There will be a shared driveway. It's in the rural conservation character area, and A2 is consistent with that. And it would actually, this rezone to AR would bring the non-conforming A1 13.25 acre property into conformity.
This may be a silly question, but, you know, I mean, there's nothing there's already a building there that they just want to convert. Medical hardship says you gotta move something in and then remove it, but, I mean, once you fix it, I guess you can fix it, but, you know, whether you call it a medical hardship or accessory dwelling, I don't know. Is there any whole lot of difference? I mean, since they're not.
If they had a medical hardship, they would have to move something in, wouldn't
They would.
they? So,
Okay.
And for financial purposes, he said, instead of buying a whole home.
I don't blame him at all, I wouldn't wanna do it either.
That's probably one of the weaknesses in our ordinance. The ordinance does specifically say manufactured home. That's-
Mhm.
That's one of those, it is what it is, it's already
So
there.
it has to be removed, yes, for medical
So
hardship.
there's no ADUs and A1?
Hmm?
Mhm.
You gotta have.
Oh, no, you don't have the acreage.
You didn't have the acreage.
Okay, okay, yeah.
All right, any further questions, comments? Number 6?
All right, Frederick and Carol Leonard and Paula Joyner are requesting to rezone a 6.757 acre portion of their 16.96 acres from A2 to AR to allow it to be split out for a home site, and the remaining 10.201 acres will stay in the A2 zone. Property is located at 400 Highway 174 in Danielsville on map 38, parcel 9 in District 2. So the property is co-owned by Paula Joyner and her parents. The parents already live on the property in the existing home, and Paula just wants to build a home on the property and wants her own tract due to financing purposes. She needs it split out. And this would qualify as an ADU, but again, her mortgage company has to be split out. So they will have separate driveways, and there is more than ample road frontage for both tracts. And this is also in the rural conservation character area, in which the requested AR is consistent with that, and the A2, of course, is. This is in the Cuba conservation plan, but there is no breach due to it being a family member.
Questions? Comments? 7.
All right, Lance Wade, applicant for Martha Woodard, is requesting to rezone a 14-acre portion of her 58.2 acres from A1 to A2 to be split and sold with an existing home, and the remaining 44.20 acres will stay in the A1 zone to be retained. Property is located at 3956 Highway 98 East in Comer on map 68, parcel 53 in District 2. So Mrs. Woodard actually does not even live in the state, but she has been renting out the existing home on the property to Mr. Wade for many years now. And he's just now wanting to purchase that home with 14 acres. So the remaining acreage is going to, as far as I've told, will be used for cattle farming. However, I have received a lot of calls from individuals looking to buy that remaining tract of land and wanting to know what all they can do on it. I've received probably 10 phone calls. Some of them want to put a poultry house, some of them want to see if they can split it, just various many calls on that. So both tracts will have ample road frontage, and it is in the rural conservation character area, and the A2 zone is consistent with that.
The remaining acres is on that Posse Road, right?
Yes, sir.
On that Posse Road portion.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, even though you receive all those phone calls, it's still her property.
Exactly.
She hasn't sold it.
No, sir.
It's up to her.
Mm-hmm.
Then they'll have to come back and
But they have to come back and split it.
Yeah, they would have to rezone it again if they wanted to split it,
right.
because it's staying A1, that remaining.
Any other questions or comments on this one? And moving on, number 8.
Okay. Matt Hadaway is requesting to rezone his 15.94 acres from A2 to AR to allow the property to be split into 2 equal tracts containing approximately 7.97 acres each for home sites. The property is located at 8411 Wildcat Bridge Road in Danielsville on map 78, parcel 28-05 in District 4. So, Mr. Hadaway has actually just purchased the property, and, his father-in-law is wanting to purchase one portion, the one tract of it, and then Mr. Hadaway is gonna retain the other tract, and both plan to have their own home sites there. The property is landlocked and accessed by an existing easement that currently accesses this tract plus 2 others, which this is permissible as an easement can access up to 4 parcels. The easement will not have to be paved because it is a platted easement from 2006, which was before the driveway ordinance went into in 2022. So it would not have to be paved, but I do have a plan showing you what all that accesses. And it used to access 4 to 5, but this gentleman has combined properties, so now it only accesses 3 tracks.
So it was all one big tract, and then they split it off?
Yes, it eventually was, but then the tract that's number 2 and 3, and then, the other one had road frontage, but he combined those because that would have made it have like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
But now it's back down to 3, so this additional split would just be the 4th one.
So, was it in our years?
Yes.
Okay.
No questions? Concerns, comments? All right, number 9.
Okay. So we've got Braxton Legg, applicant and owner for 4Gen Farms LLC. He's requesting to rezone a 17-acre portion of his 113.44 acres from A1 to A2 to be split and retained, and the remaining 96.44 acres with an existing home and 6 active poultry houses will stay in the A1 zone to be sold. Property is located at 4450 Pioli Road in Comer on map 104, parcel 25-01 in District 4. So, Braxton has decided he just wants to get out of the poultry house business. So, he is just wanting to cut off 17-acre portion that's vacant, has no home or no structures on it, and he's planning to build a home there, and then he's selling the remaining of the property. So, and I had to look carefully because after this property, you know, with it being split, that moves the property lines a little bit. So, and of course, the active poultry houses have to be at least 300 feet from all property lines, and with this configuration, it will be. It was one that we had to have the survey done first to make sure those setbacks can be met, and they can. This will be the second split for this property, as a 5-acre tract was rezoned and split out in 2023. So that's fine. You can have up to 3 splits in a 3-year period, so that's no problem there. Both tracts will have more than ample road frontage. It's also in the rural conservation character area, and it is consistent. And believe it or not, it's not in the CUFA program. I don't know why, but it's not.
All right. Questions, comments on this one? All right, number 10.
Okay. So we have Eric Hammond, and he is requesting to rezone a 12.4-acre his 12.4 acres from A1 to AR to allow a 4-acre split with an existing home to give to sister. He will retain the remaining 8.4 acres for a home site for himself. Property is located at 2480 Farmtown Road in Bowman on map 91, parcel 39 in District 4. So his sister is actually already living in the home that's on the property, and he's actually been in the military and is just now getting out, and he's ready to start his home. So he's just wanting to split her out those 4 acres with that existing home, and then he plans to retain the remaining 8.4 acres to build his home on. The property has ample road frontage, but due to the placement of the existing home and how they want to split it, the 4-acre tract will require an easement. So as you can see on the site plan, that home is that little dot there that I'm pointing to. And so it would require an easement. And it is in the rural conservation character area and is consistent. And it is in CUVA, but there's no breach since it's family of the 4th degree sin, I believe is how they word it.
Does anyone see any problem with, the easement?
There shouldn't be. It would just be the one home being accessed. And there's plenty of, road frontage, so he's, even with the easement, he will still have ample road frontage left for the remaining tract.
Do you know how the easement would be routed? Well, but probably a better question is, would it just affect that 8.4 acre
Yes.
portion, not another parcel around there?
Right,
Like a
no,
little square.
exactly, just be straight up the 8.4 acres.
Okay.
Any further questions? All right, is there any other further business to come before this board tonight, or?
Commissioner Chandler did it.
Yes, sir.
Y'all finish first.
Before we adjourn, go ahead.
Thank you. It's good to see all of y'all, and thank you for your service. We did take a vote last night at the commissioners meeting to present to y'all an amendment to our current zoning ordinance. And I know it's getting confusing because we contracted with CPL, then to give us their version of a new plan, and we don't know where that adoption is or if it's going to be adopted. So we're decided to go ahead and move ahead with this potential amendment. It's be a very simple one. It'll be a change in our definition of livestock. Now, trust that this is not a knee-jerk reaction to try to make something happen. But as a result of the Zach Hightower case that y'all had at the last public hearing that was withdrawn from our agenda last night, that made us recognize a flaw or an omission in our definition of our current ordinance's definition of livestock. It does not include poultry. When we compare what we have to what Georgia, the OCCG, the official code of Georgia. Yeah. Anyway, their definition does include poultry. So our request for you to consider is the appropriateness of changing our definition of livestock to match the definition in OCCG, which does include poultry. Now, on the Zach Hightower case, what that would do for them, it would allow them to, they actually are allowed to do what they want to do now. In the current zone that they have, they can conduct a livestock sales facility that can occur in an A1 zone. The reason that they had originally requested a conditional use for an auction barn is because poultry is excluded from the livestock definition, and they feel like poultry is going to be a large part of their business when they're doing those livestock auctions. Personally, I was hesitant to go for a conditional use for an auction barn, because auction barn can be anything. You got auto auctions, estate auctions, whatever. It's much more limited as a livestock sales pavilion as it would be to a full-blown auction barn. So I'm personally favor leaving it as A1 without the conditional use and considering it as a livestock sales pavilion. But if in their case, for it to work, for what they want to do, poultry does have to be in the definition. So again, that's what brought it to our attention. I don't know that I've had a case that we've even used the definition of livestock before, but obviously for who we are in Madison County, it seems ridiculous that, to me, that poultry is not included in the definition of what constitutes livestock. So anyway, that is our request, and we should have everything should have been submitted in time to be so the advertising should be done. So that would be on your public hearing agenda for your next public hearing, and it would be on ours on the following public hearing. But that's for your consideration to recommend to us what your thoughts are on amending our definition of livestock, and essentially it would match the definition of the Georgia official code.
Here, I actually got the ad sent off this morning, and so that will leave you guys to discuss it at your next August 19th hearing, just to discuss it. And then, due to the requirements, it has to be a certain amount of days before it missed it just like by 5 days. And so you guys will be voting on it on September the 2nd, and the VOC will be September the 8th.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
All right.
I have a question. This discussion came about because of this particular rezone request, or is it just something that needs to be done?
That's what brought it to our attention. That's what made us realize that it was not in there. That's in my time, either on the planning and zoning board or as a commissioner, we've not had a case where it's been questioned. I'm confident we've not had a proposal that's where somebody wanted to have a livestock sales pavilion. And so this is the first time that we've looked at the definition of livestock and just recognized, as a result of this request, we recognize, whoops, poultry is not there. And there are a couple of other things that the Georgia Code lists other than poultry that's also not in ours. But poultry is the one that brought it to our attention.
Okay. That brought it to your attention. That had nothing to do with the second part of their request.
Correct. Yeah, the second part of that request dealt with paving and
all that.
Landscaping.
Okay, all right.
So they withdrew from you all?
correct.
Mm-hmm.
So are they coming back?
No,
No.
would not,
Oh, okay.
see, would not require, for them to operate as a livestock sales pavilion, it is an allowed use in the A1 zone. So it would require no action on our part.
But
So they actually can be doing what they want to do right now.
Right now, without the poultry.
Except they can't sell poultry. What they're trying to do is a sheep and goat, small animal auction.
Yeah.
But they think that poultry is going to be a part of it.
But there was another consideration of, they're sitting on that corner, that V shape, and getting trucks in and out after they put everything up. That was.
Well, Cindy, I think, and I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that this change would have nothing to do with their request, even if they brought it back. It still would have to be approved recommended to be approved by us, or approved or denied by the Board of Commissioners.
No.
This doesn't just automatically mean that.
That's what he's saying, is don't have to come back.
Livestock sales pavilion is an allowed use in the A1 zone. So they actually can be conducting that business.
That could be conducted now,
Correct.
as long as poultry wasn't involved.
Right.
If the ordinance is changed, they won't have to come back.
Yeah.
Right.
Even with poultry.
Yeah, that'd just be, we would change the ordinance that would allow them to sell, and, whatever that adds that list, it adds poultry and possums and, whatever.
Is that one reason they withdrew last night, because they know that was coming up?
I had several conversations with Zach and also with Clay Wilson, and I pretty well warned them that the likelihood of them getting a denial last night was pretty great. Now, it really wouldn't matter, if we proceed, the action last night really didn't make any difference. If they withdrew, which they did, we still are considering the potential amendment.
Yeah, well, I'm not.
If they went through with it and got denied, then that just means the auction barn is denied. We still go through with potential amendment, but instead of operating as an auction barn, again, which can sell anything, then they would be they'd be relying on, livestock sales pavilion to be able to accomplish what they want to do. So either, whatever the action, even if they went ahead and came forward last night and we as commissioners voted to postpone, and still, really the two are separate issues.
Yeah, that's two separate issues, but I guess my problem with the whole thing is, and there's really nothing we can do about it because of the rules, is that the proximity to people living in that area. You know, there's one guy 100 yards from there, you know. I mean, that's my problem, and a whole lot, none of us can do about that.
Yeah, and we actually have talked to folks, because that's in Commissioner Adams' district, but, 3 of the, immediate neighbors are actually gonna be working for the owners. So the only complaint that we have had, that Denny has fielded, I have not fielded any, is from somebody that lives some distance away.
Well, one right across the road, Robert
The
Davis.
guy right across the road.
Robert Davis, they live right across the road, and they don't want it.
And he was out last night.
He's the one that's got sheep, right?
No,
Robert Davis, the older fellow.
He lives within 200
So
yards.
he's in that White House.
Right. And he was actually at the meeting last night, but since we were withdrawing, he was
Got up and walked out.
I guess so. Well, I mean, I didn't see him, but I saw him when he walked in. But, you know.
And I think Gentry was the other people that were at our meeting that adjoined that.
Yeah, and he was
the other
further away.
couple.
So there was no consideration of how, because they're gonna have one side blocked off, they were gonna use, everything had to, those trucks had to turn around and go out the same.
So at this point, we as commissioners hadn't done any considering, because once they put it off our agenda.
Well, and a whole lot, nobody can do about anything because it's permissible.
Well, that's what I'm saying, now is, we don't have. we
Once
can't
that's
do nothing.
changed, it's a
Yeah.
legally non-conforming property, and this, so therefore it's,
Yeah,
he doesn't have to ask for permission at
yeah,
that
that's what
point.
I'm
Right.
saying.
Once
It's a
we,
permitted use.
correct,
Permitted use. And even now,
because this
if
was
you
the
leave
same
poultry
property.
out of it, he didn't have to ask.
Right.
He just
Correct.
do it.
Right.
The operation.
Because it was conditional use for Poultry House Solutions or whatever, the poultry spraying operation that
And
was
business.
placed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why did he come to us anyway, if he could do what he wanted to do?
Because he wanted
He wanted to have both.
He wanted to have poultry.
But now he don't have to worry about
Well,
No.
if we change the ordinance, if we decide that changing that definition is
And
appropriate.
even if we don't change the ordinance, if he changes his mind and says, okay, I'll forget poultry, I'll do the rest of it.
Sheep and goats.
it. Yeah.
Fine, he can do it.
All
You know,
right.
I don't like that, but that's the way it is. This is what I like, somebody else likes it.
Anyway, I just want to share with y'all the reasoning and sort of
Okay.
how it came to be. But that'll be, the process is the same with any ordinance amendment we've had before. It will come before y'all, and y'all will deliberate on it, and then make a recommendation to us, and we'll proceed after that.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, thank y'all.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Any further business? Not, kind of a motion to adjourn.
I so moved.
I second it.
All in favor,
We missed you last time on that.
Sure I will. That is necessary.
They were here for 3 days before they finally decided to take you to try.
Oh.
Those roll call.
Long haul.
You driving,